Ask.
Guys, so now this is the USDCAD on the daily time frame, right? Let's look at the USDCAD. So on the daily time frame, you can see that price is currently at an area of support, right? And then what happens at area of support? There is a tendency that buying pressure could come in and then push price higher, right? So now on the daily, we have confirmation that it is an area of support, right? Now, let me pass this. Let me set the record straight. Not even set the record straight, but let me put this out there before we continue. Like they always say, we use the higher time frames for direction, and then the lower time frames for entries. So you could use your 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and all that. For your entries. But then when it comes to direction, you have to look at your daily time frame, your weekly time frame, depending on how long you're going to hold your trades, right? It is subjective, So you are the person that is trading, and then what works best with you, right? So currently on the daily time frame, we can see that USDCAD is at an area of support. Now let's go on to the weekly to see. So on the weekly too, we can see that this is also an area for support, right, for the USDCAD. Now let's go back to our 4 hour time frame, where we'll be doing our entries and see how best we can enter in on a trade if market was to give us some signals, right? So this is the USDCAD on the 4 hour time frame, right? So we can see from here that on the 4 hour too is it's at an area of support, and then it happens to be an area of support on the daily as well, and then on the weekly. Now you see, at first glance I could have done the 4 hour, looked at them like, this is at an area of support, so price is going to buy or not. But then when you do that without looking at your higher time frame, then you'll be sometimes you're going to get the call wrong, because for all you know, sometimes you'll be buying into an area of resistance on the higher time frame, or selling into an area of support on the higher time frame. But here lies the case that on the 4 hour that you'll be doing your entries, you have it aligning your daily time frame and then what's the weekly time frame. I'm talking about the area of support, right? It aligns with the 4 hour, the daily, and then the weekly. So now let's take this for example. So imagine that you have a brother, or let's say a sister, that in Accra, that you want to visit. You have been contemplating about making a visit or paying a visit to that person, and then you were there one time, and then you had a call from a friend that you knew maybe went abroad or lost touch with, and then said that, I'm in Accra, would you care to come visit me or something? You see, because you had the intention that whenever you get the chance, you go and visit your brother or sister, and then your friend also that you've seen for a long time happens to be in Accra, it will propel you more to go to Accra when you have your friend and then your sister there, where you can visit both of them, than having just your sister or brother there for you to go and visit, right? I don't know if this makes sense. So this is the same with trading, right? So let's look at your friend, the friend that you lost touch with as the higher time frame, and then let's look at you paying your brother or sister as the lower time frame, which is the 4 hour, right? Which means that when you have the area of support aligning with the lower ones aligning with the higher ones, then there is a higher probability that price could actually obey that area of support, right? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So when it happens that you have area of support at the lower time frame aligning with that of the higher time frame, then there is what so much conviction that that area of support could be respected by what the market. Then this happens to be the case of USD-CAD. So what do we have to do in order to enter in on a trade with USD-CAD? So all you have to do is your entry confirmations, right? Yeah. So you can look for bullish engulfing pattern, the tweezer tops, the hammer, all these candlesticks, confirmations, chart patterns, the pennants, the whatever. Yeah. So when you get your confirmation, then you can enter in your trade. So currently, the USD-CAD is very is at the area of support right now. So it is very much important that you pay attention to the USD-CAD because price is currently at it, and then see how price reacts as it's at the area of what support, right? Please, in trading, you have to take note. Just because you see it's an area of support doesn't mean that it's a buy. Definitely, you have to look at what the market is doing. Then you also trade based on that. Yeah. So now that's that for the USD-CAD too as well. Yeah. So the next pair that I would want us to look at is the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar, which is the AUDNZD, right? AUDNZD. Yeah. So now on the 4 hour, we can see that let me drag this down so that we can see where price is going at the moment. Yeah. So on the 4 hour, we can see that price approaching. Yeah. So right here, you can see that price are approaching what an area of support, right? And then this is what a key one. This isn't any random area of support, right? So we have on the 4 hour that price approaching what an area of support. So now let's go on to our higher time frame. So let's do the daily. Yeah. So let me pass this on. Yeah. So the trick is, at least when you are trading or you take your entries on the forward, then at least you should be looking at the daily time frame aligning with the area of value that you have marked on the 4 hour, right? I don't know if this makes sense. And also when you're trading on the hour, at least the 4 hour, you should have the area that you have marked on the 1 hour. On the 4 hour too, you should have that area aligning with that of the 1 hour. Yeah. So 15 minutes, you should have the area aligning with what's that of for the 30 minutes. Yeah, in that order. So it depends on how long you plan on holding your trades, and then the kind of higher time frame that you'll be looking at as your reference, right? But then, so for me, I always do the 4 hour, right? That's where I do my entries, and then I look at the daily. At least I make sure that the daily is aligning with the area of value that I've marked on what the 4 hour, right? And then if the weekly also aligns, it's all good, just buttresses the whole idea, right? Yeah. So now on the daily too, we can see that this is a very major area of what resistance, right? Another area is a very major what area of what resistance. Someone could call this what the double tops, but this is what an area of resistance and a key one. So what do you have to do? You have to wait. You don't have to do anything. You have to wait until price comes towards that area, and then you see how price or market reacts around that area. Then if it gives you that sell signal, then you can make your sell from there, right? Yeah. So let's go and check on the weekly and see if it also aligns, right? So right now I know that on the 4 hour is what an area of resistance. On the daily too is an area of resistance, right? I'm good to go, right? Because for me, I don't hold trades that much. Mostly I hold them for like 3 days or 4 days. That's the most, 5 days at the most. Yeah. So mostly it's like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Yeah. So that's what I do always. When I have it aligning with the daily, then I'm good. But when the weekly too aligns with it, it's all good. Yeah. So let's look at the weekly and see if it also price at nearing the area of resistance that we have marked. Yeah. So on the weekly too, it buttresses that of the 4 hour, and then what? and then the daily time frame. So we can see that on the weekly too, the area that we marked on the 4-hour turns out that it's also an area of resistance when you come to the weekly time frame. So this is a very important area of value that we have to keep an eye on as price is nearing that area. So what do you have to do? You wait for price to get there, entry confirmations. If it's a sell, you sell. If there's going to be a breakout too, then you wait and do what you want to do, right? Yeah, trading is simple. You see, I don't draw that much. I just look at what's happening, and trading is supposed to be simple, no any weird stuff and all that. Yeah. So now let's do So the CADCHF. So at first glance from here, you don't know. You see, one thing about the lower time frame is that sometimes when you open your lower time frames, you don't see whether or not prices at an area of value or not, right? So in that case, what do you do? So in that case, you go on towards a higher time frame so that you can get a bigger picture, right? Yeah. So for this one, you can see that on the 4-hour time frame, there isn't much to talk about, right? So now let's go on to the daily time frame and see what's happening there, right? Yeah. 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 So on the daily time frame, you can see that this area that I have marked here, right, happens to be an area of resistance. That price potentially could come up and then come into, right, this area right here. So you can see that in the 4-hour time frame, we didn't see anything resistance out there, but on the daily, we can see that price is actually traveling or approaching the area of resistance here that we have on the daily time frame, right? Yeah. So the clue that you have to keep in mind is that sometimes on your lower time frames, you might look at it and you wouldn't know where's price at. What am I supposed to do here? Is it going to an area of support? Or sometimes you don't see the bigger picture, or you don't see the area of values on the smaller or the lower time frame. So in that case, what you have to do is go on to the higher time frames and see the bigger picture. So there you have a clearer picture of what's actually happening in that particular financial instrument. So from here to I've marked it out. So if price comes there, I monitor, it gives me my entry confirmations. I enter in on my sell. If it breaks it, then I wait and then see what price does further, right? From there, a whole lot could happen from there. But then at the moment, it's an area of resistance. So I am anticipating for a sell pressure when price comes into this region. Yeah, so the price is 0.6810, so you can also check it out for yourself. So behind it, and also check it out. Yeah.